Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? I want to welcome you to Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends. My name is Reverend Angie Abt. I'm a registered Lily Dale medium. And with me today, I'm super excited, is my sister, Melanie DeAeth. Hi, Mel.
Hi.
So Mel and I, we're actually going to have a discussion today about coping with loss, grief, and we're also going to talk about signs from our loved ones. Okay. My sister, son passed away, my nephew, actually a year ago today. And we're actually doing this in his memory, okay? Because Corey was somebody that wanted to help people. He always wanted to make people smile. He had the most vivacious personality, I think, of anybody I've ever known, the best smile ever. And so we want to carry his memory on by helping people, like in any way we can. Right, Mel? Welcome, Mel.
Oh yeah, I'm so honored and thankful to do this. What a special way for me to honor Corey through
Yes.
the show today. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I appreciate that too. It's pretty fun that I get to do this with my sister. My sister also, for anybody who doesn't know Melanie, Melanie, tell them a little bit about you. Melanie's a teacher, and to talk about that, you're a diagnostician, and also a little about the animal rescue too.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm a diagnostician. Well, I taught dyslexia intervention for 23 years and then decided to get my diag certification so that I can test kids too. And now I work for an amazing company called Dyslexia on Demand that we test and teach dyslexic students throughout the entire country. So,
Hmm. And
yeah.
part of the reason for that Melanie got involved in this is Corey and Colton, but your other son too are both dyslexic. Corey was dyslexic.
That's right. Yeah. I started the dyslexia and learning about dyslexia and dyslexia intervention when I found out that Corey and Colton were both dyslexic. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and how
So
very important that is to help them when they're younger.
yeah, I had the privilege. And I think a lot of you know I had surgery a couple months ago for my back, and my sister Melanie and my other sister Janine came and stayed with me for a couple weeks, which was wonderful. That the three of us were together, right, Mel, for a couple weeks, and
Yeah, that was
yeah.
fun.
But I got to listen to Melanie because she does a lot of her teaching now, does tutoring and does the diagnostician stuff on Zoom. So I got to listen to her teach. It was that was I don't even think I told you how much fun that was. So, all right. So, everybody, back to our topic. I want to start out with a meditation. I'm going to try to keep a lot of the shows go off for the summer, and I'm going to try to keep us going on Sunday mornings because I feel right now meditation is one of the most important things we can all do, okay, for ourselves and for our world, okay, with all the things that are happening in the world. We don't know what to do. And what we want to do, okay, is we want to be at a higher level. We want to stay at that higher level of consciousness, okay? And if we do that, I believe so much that's how we can affect change. We don't want to get down in the negativity. We want to stay positive as much as we can, and talk about our feelings too, of course. But so I'm going to try to keep us going through the summer, and we're going to at least do guided meditation every week. So if you'll join me, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for just a moment and start to become aware of your breathing. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. And another deep breath in and exhale. And beginning to imagine a cone of beautiful white light, like sunlight, lowering over your head. Shimmering, beautiful white light that begins gently washing into your body. Feeling it beginning to enter your head, caressing each area of tension, relaxing, and smoothing away all of your worries. Feeling your breath as it gently moves in and out of your body. Gently inhaling and gently exhaling. And feel this beautiful light and energy begin moving down now into your neck and your chest. And noticing if your shoulders are clenched upward at all. On your next exhale, lowering your shoulders, allowing them to relax. As you feel this beautiful light and energy surrounding your heart now, as your heart beats its strong and steady rhythm, and again, being aware of your breath as it moves in and out of your lungs, as the beautiful light moves into them, clearing, strengthening, and purifying. And now your stomach is filled with this light and beautiful energy, soothing and calming, healing away any knots that might be there. As your breath moves gently in and out of your body, carrying the light through every cell, as you breathe out old, tired energy and bring in newly renewed energy, gently washing away stress or worries. As the light now travels around to your spine and moves down your back, bringing energy and lightness to your being. And taking a moment to concentrate the light and energy into any areas that might be feeling tight or tense. Just breathe into those areas, surrounding them with light, and inviting those areas to relax. Feeling the energy and light moving all through your back. Feeling the smoothing away of tension. And feel your breath in and out, its own steady rhythm. And feel the energy and light as it moves now down your arms, all the way to your fingertips, relaxing and loosening any tension carried there. And staying aware of your breathing, noticing your breath, carrying in new energy, and exhaling out the old. Imagine the light going into your thighs now, all the way down your legs to the very tips of your toes, as your whole body now is surrounded and filled with beautiful, relaxing, white light and peaceful energy. Feeling it once again, melting away any other tightness or aches that you may have in your entire being, as this beautiful light and energy continues to move through you. And taking another deep breath in as you begin slowly opening your eyes, wiggling your fingers and toes, knowing that this beautiful energy you brought in will stay with you for the day. And I gave you an easy meditation because that's something you can do every day, is bring that light in through your head, move it through your body, surround tense areas, with that light, and guaranteed you'll feel more relaxed. And you can even sit, make the meditation longer and just sit in silence for 10 minutes, and you'll notice it's going to improve your entire day. Okay. Meditation does that. And it takes you to that higher place of consciousness that I feel like we all need to be in. So how about you, Mel? How are you doing, Mel?
I agree. No, that was really nice. Thank you. Yeah, very relaxing.
Yeah. So, okay. So we have people coming on. Hi, everybody. Hi, Irene. Hi, Lainey from North Carolina. We appreciate you. And Jennifer too. And Linda too. Hi, Linda. So thanks for joining us. So, and if you're just coming on, welcome to Spiritual Discoveries. My name is Reverend Angie Abt. I'm a registered Lily Dale medium. And my guest today is my sister. Okay. Melanie DeAeth. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, everybody. Yeah.
Nice. So, sorry. We're gonna talk today about coping with loss and grief, and Melanie and I have talked a lot about this, and we feel like this is something that we need to have a conversation about, that people don't know how to talk about, or when somebody loses somebody, we don't know what to say. We want to support, and we're afraid we're going to say the wrong thing, or we say nothing. And I know, like for you, Melanie, I'll give you some background. Melanie's son died actually 1 year ago, Corey. He died 1 year ago. I can't not smile when I talk about Corey, my nephew, because he always made us smile, didn't he, Mel?
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and talking about him makes me feel better. It's helpful. Like if people think, oh, let's not talk because it brings sadness, but I'd rather talk about him than not. So this is very special for me.
Yeah, it's a special way to remember him, because Corey always wanted to bring light to people, and he wanted people to feel good. He would do anything to make you laugh.
Oh, he would. Yeah, definitely. And he just had a gift with that too. He was able to do that.
Wow.
He'd light up any room. Oh, there he is.
There he is. Yeah. Look at my handsome, it's going to probably make me cry, but that's my handsome nephew, Corey DeAeth. And he really, really was special. And he lived a lot. He was 30. How old, Mel, when he passed?
33.
33. And he, people just told Melanie story after story after story of the things he did to help people, or the conversations he had with people that made a difference in their lives. He really, really cared. Oh, here we go. There we go. There he is. More makes us laugh. And that's Colton.
Yeah, that shows his personality for sure. And Colton's the one that fixed the hooves, but Corey was checking him out,
Yeah.
That's
Colton.
okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do this show like on the day, the anniversary of Corey's passing, because we know that Corey wants us to smile still. Yeah. He wants us to laugh still, and he wants us to help other people. So in his name, that's what we're doing, right, Mel?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And I mean, and if I'm wiping my eyes, I just want y'all to know that it sometimes does bring tears because I miss him, but it feels also so good to talk about him. So yeah, don't ever, if somebody lost somebody and you talk about them, don't ever think that just because they're crying, it's bad. Stop talking. No, it's
Yeah,
not.
or you feel like this because actually this was part of our conversation. Is
Yeah.
I was talking about Corey and Melanie started to cry, and I said, "Oh my gosh, Mel, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry." And what tell them what you said. Well,
Well,
kind of what you just said, right?
yeah, exactly. Just that I'd rather talk about him, and even though it brings some sadness for missing him, it feels good to remember him and keep him alive.
Yeah, and Melanie said, "Just keep talking about him." And she stayed with me for Melanie stayed with me for a couple months ago, and many times like we would be talking about something, and all of a sudden you'd cry, and you'd say, "Just keep talking, let me cry." I have to cry
Yeah.
too. You
Yeah,
know.
and then I work through it and enjoy the conversation too. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know what? I feel like that's such an important point is if you know somebody that's lost somebody and you don't know what to say because we're always so afraid, and we don't want to make somebody upset. So, first of all, so what if they cry? And second of all, tell them a memory. I think you love, right, Melanie, when somebody calls you up or somebody on Facebook writes a memory about
Yeah.
Corey, whether it's something
Oh,
you knew or not, it makes you cry and smile.
absolutely. Yeah. And I know Corey wants to be remembered too. We all know that.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. We're going to talk about that too, everybody, because we've gotten some amazing signs from Corey, and we all get signs from our loved ones. It's a matter they communicate with us still, and I know that, and they do it a different way. So we're gonna talk about that, and probably have another show that I'm going to teach you how to do it yourself. So I'm just gonna read a couple things, Mel, and I'll let you comment on them. But in our hearts, we all know that death is part of life. In fact, death gives meaning to our existence because it reminds us of how precious life is. And in ways that you feel like when Corey first died. I mean, it was like you kind of went through those different stages, right?
Oh, yeah. You still kind of do. I mean, so um,
Yeah.
you know, grief, obviously, bargaining, anger, all those different emotions that your body goes through.
Yeah.
And so we all do that. Yep.
And I want to ask you this too, because I feel this like you, it gets better. It never goes away, but it gets better. I have so many people ask me that. I did readings yesterday for somebody who had just lost somebody a couple months ago, and she said, I just feel so horrible all the time. Am I ever going to feel better? And I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna base this on my sister, who lost her son, and she says that you tell people like what do you say about that?
Yeah. I mean, I still feel the pain, the loss, the sadness for missing him.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm thankful for the time that we had. Start to look at some of those positives. I'm thankful for the time I had with him. I love the memories, and little by little, that pain eases.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to say this about the tears because our mother is also on the other side, and my mother, to meet my mother, I would say she was a character, wouldn't you, Mel?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she was a character, and she definitely, like, I mean, gave opinions whether you wanted them or not, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, she still comes through. I get readings, and she still gives me really those same opinions. So,
Oh,
but
that's where we get that from.
I think so.
Oh, you're still doing that.
Yeah, I know. And then we say that to our kids too. Too bad you're going to get my opinion whether you like it
Yes.
or not, right?
Yeah.
But our mother she was also very, I thought, very wise. And I remember when my mother had lung cancer that went to her brain, and when she was dying, like, we had that precious time with her, and I remember she'd call me on the phone and she'd say, get a pen and paper out, I have some words of wisdom, and I want you to make sure you remember them when I'm not here, and by the way, I want you to make sure you tell your brothers and sisters these words of wisdom too.
Yeah.
And You remember? And then she said this is too, I mean, crazy, and I think I cried the whole time I talked to her, but she said, I want you to write some things down too, because I'm going to tell you how to grieve me. And I'm like, what? Okay, I can't do this, Mom. And she said, do it. That's too bad. Too bad. Write this stuff down. But
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I
That
remember.
sounds like Mom, right?
Yeah.
So I remember she said, and Melanie, we're talking about the tears. When my stepfather had died about a year before my mother got sick, and I remember my mother would cry, and we would feel so bad. You hated to see her cry, and we wanted to make her feel better. And I remember I went and I talked to her, and I said, Mom, you're so strong, and you're this and you're this, and you don't have. I think I said, you don't have to cry. You're going to be okay. And she looked at me, and remember, my mother's Italian, okay, and she looked at me and she said, Angela, shut your mouth right now, okay. And I'm like, okay. And she said, I want you to understand, I want to cry. Okay. I really, really do. I need to cry because every single one of these tears is for Ron. That was my stepfather's name. And he was worth it,
Yeah.
and then I think I understood, because I think you feel the same about that.
Oh, definitely. And over here on the comments, Madeline said, it's your love overflowing, that's beautiful. I think that's a really great way to say that. I like that a lot. And
Yeah.
yeah, our love for that person is overflowing and comes out a little bit in tears, but then we go on,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's okay, and we
Yeah.
should be okay with feeling things. I think, and we don't, and I know this just in talking to different people that I do readings for, is people don't know how to grieve, and or how to feel sad. Like, I think we're taught, and I always was, like, to be strong, and so if I'm
Right.
feeling really upset about something, it's what do I do to get past that right away so I can stay connected to my strength, right?
Right. But no, it's okay to feel that and let it out. If you don't, it's going to come out in other ways. So, because
Yes.
as you go through those steps, one of them is anger, one of them is depression. If you don't let these emotions out, talk about the person and feel it, you're going to get stuck in one of those steps. And you don't want to do that.
So would you say, like, those steps? I don't know if Karen can maybe pull up the steps. Karen's here too, everybody. I forgot to mention Karen. Karen's behind scenes, but
Oh,
these
cool.
Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. If anybody's read her, I think her books are excellent on death and dying. And so, Melanie, talk about these. Like, are these pretty realistic?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. So the denial, what's funny, I guess, about that is, remember when I called you, Ange, the night that he passed? And
Yeah.
I said, I don't think I was in denial. Well, can I talk about what I heard then
Yes.
too?
Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah.
So when I was at the scene, I was second on the scene, and he died in a motorcycle accident, and his body had been thrown. And of course, your initial response is to run to them. And I heard Corey calling me, saying, Mama, Mama. And I heard it so clearly that I knew I didn't have to go to his body. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
So there was no denial. And he wasn't afraid. He wasn't sad. He wasn't hurting. He wasn't, I mean, I knew he was okay.
Yeah.
So, and then I guess, like, the bargaining, sure. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Cause then I think I went right to bargaining, where you're going, what if we would have done this, and we should have and could have, and how could we have changed this day? And
Yeah.
then, and I think then, if you don't feel the feelings and let the tears out here and there, that anger can bubble up,
Yeah.
and come out in different ways. So I see that more, I don't see it as one after the other, but kind of a flow.
Did it for you? Like, was there anger?
I mean, the anger, not really at Corey or at the situation. I think what happens is, like it says, frustration, irritability, and anxiety. That's when your emotions are coming out sideways, and you're going to get mad at the other people in your life to
Yeah.
let it out. Because if you don't let those tears out, if you don't let that sadness out, you're going to get that anger is going to come up, and you're going to give it to someone else. Is
Yeah.
the way I see that.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of it, the bargaining is, would I, could I, should I? And then the depression, to me, which I didn't think I've fallen into that quite a lot, because in a way that's selfish because Corey's okay,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
if I lay here and don't live my life, it feels selfish to me. So that's kind of how I've worked through that.
Yeah, but
So,
you had it. I mean, but oh,
oh,
I wanted to throw in too about the denial. I think like because I remember you calling, and I remember you saying that you heard him say "mama," and you knew, and I remember like there it was you just knew inside yourself in every part. You still had to grieve and go through everything, but at that moment, you knew he was okay.
yeah,
You just
yeah,
knew, right?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I was in denial, because I remember saying like, "What? It's impossible. Get him to the hospital right now. This is impossible." And kind of knowing that it wasn't because I knew listening to you that it was right. But I think that was shock.
It is. That's a normal. Yeah, that was a normal response for me. It was right there, and I heard him, and I think I didn't have a long time in denial, but
Yeah, yeah,
I think that I saw people one after the other as I told them hit
yeah.
that stage where they were like, no, wait a minute, and I think so.
And then would you say this too? Like, did you have days, and you still do? Because I don't want to say it's in the past because I don't think it ever goes away. But like, did you have days that you felt terrible too, and just allow like you have to feel that, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess I say, it's such a confusing, when you lose anybody, this is parents, siblings, especially like close family like that, and a child, and it's like a part of your heart gets ripped out in a way, but you still have so many people here that you love. Like it's always pulled me through. I can't say enough about my family being there, friends, and that kind of thing. People that you'd have to keep looking back at the positives and the good things that are still here, even though one piece of what you love is gone.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. He's gone, and then we'll talk in a minute about the signs. It's like he's gone, but Corey makes sure to let us know
Yeah.
that he's not.
He
So,
does.
so talk about like I want you to talk about acceptance because I think acceptance doesn't mean that I'm okay with this. You're never going to be okay with it, but acceptance means what? That this is the way your life is now. Like, what would you say?
Well, so I guess throughout this year, every first was difficult. First Christmas, first birthday, his birthday, each holiday, so many memories.
Yeah, I
That
know.
one a little bit cry too. But it's a good time to talk about acceptance today because I think it feels like at this year point, like I've come full circle. And we're going to spend this day remembering Corey. And we have some lanterns that, light and they float off. And we're going to do that in a letting go of the pain. I think the acceptance is letting go is best you can because it takes everybody the amount of time it's going to take you, and some people longer and some people shorter. But I feel like it won't be gone, but I'm going to let go of the pain and accept this is my life and I'm going to live my best life going forward. And
Yeah,
that's what I feel like
yeah,
today is for me.
that's awesome. And then still make Corey a part of our lives, like doing this. Like, I can
Yeah.
feel Corey around and we're
Yeah.
talking about Corey and like doing things, like in his name to keep him with us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I felt him during that meditation, kind of excited, floating around like he's
Yeah.
he's out there. He likes this. We're going to talk about Corey. That's a good thing for him.
And if you knew Corey and you knew his personality, he loved like I remember when I just have to tell this one story. And
Yeah.
and I remember when Corey was born and Corey, how much did he weigh? Like 10.
10 pounds something. Oh, yeah. 9
Yeah.
pounds, almost 10 pounds. Yeah.
He was a big baby, and he came into the world, because he was talkative. Corey wasn't quiet, and
No.
he came into the world like I am here, and at that time, like I know now they bring babies in the rooms with the moms, and they did that then too, but they were in the nursery a lot too, and
Yeah.
and I remember like people Corey loved to hear this story too because I remember going to the nursery and people were saying like, "Whoa, look at that big one! He sure does cry loud,"
Yeah.
and that was him. And then didn't you have an experience like that too, where he wasn't covered up in the nursery?
Yeah, I went to the window and you're looking at the babies, and this is 33 years ago. So, and all the babies were wrapped up real nice, swaddled in their blankets, and Corey was all messed up, his blanket and his legs sticking out and everything else. And I asked the nurses, why don't they wrap Corey up nice too? And they said, because he's sleeping. And
There's no way they would wake
we
him
don't
up.
want to wake him up. And he lived his life that way, and it just 110%, just full bore, I'm here loud and proud. But
Yes.
everybody loved him. I mean, he wasn't, he was a fun person to be around, but he lived his life, his entire life that way.
Yeah, he did. He did. He was very much himself, which I think we all should be. But Corey was definitely himself. And he always made you. I have to say this too. That I remember because Melanie lives in Texas, and I'd go visit, and you'd get there and you'd see Corey, and he would just give you the biggest hug, and he'd look at you, he'd say, I'm so glad you're here, and look you in the eye, and he listened, but he also connected that I felt like he is really glad I'm here, and that's he was special, very special. He is, I heard him just say he is special, not what, do not use him as he was,
He does that. Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. So Melanie, Dale's on. Hi, Dale, my brother-in-law. So my brother Dale, who is Corey's dad, and he said, don't forget about the loneliness.
Yeah. So
I guess,
well, for sure for Colton and I guess for Dale too, but for my son, that was his person. You don't expect your sibling to pass. Everyone thinks about the mom. But, so I know Colton has a great deal of loneliness missing his brother, but they've connected too on the other side, which is nice. And Dale also, again, the loneliness of missing that person that you had around. But Dale and I actually had an experience yesterday that was really neat because we always think about, so I don't know which way to go. I have a dragonfly because when we see the dragonfly, we think of Corey. I've had readings of that. And we had a dragonfly, this color too, hang out with us for, I don't know, like a half an hour yesterday. It literally would fly away and park, sit on a rock right near us and hang. And then it would go away and quickly come back. And it was just no way that was a normal, but a normal way for a dragonfly to behave. And so even Dale had to admit that, he is out there.
Yeah. And that's so funny that you say that because where I live, I never see dragonflies like it, and I never see them. And I forgot to even tell you this until this story, but on Friday I was sitting out on my patio, and I had a dragonfly that kept flying, which I never see here, kept flying around the patio. And finally I acknowledged it and I said, okay, Corey, I know that you're around. And this went on for a while. And as soon as I said that, it flew away. I didn't see it again. He wanted to, like I feel like Corey sends those to us so that we know he's here and he's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel that for sure. Like, and sometimes if I'm feeling my saddest and I go sit outside and a dragonfly will hang out with me. Yeah. It's just crazy and it's very comforting. And dragonflies, for instance, they live near water. They spend most of Dale and I looked this up because it was so interesting. And they live near water and they live, as flying insects for the shorter amount of their time. Most of their time is spent in the water. So when you see one near you, especially on your porch, it's very odd. And even us near our house, they're away from their natural habitat. So it really is kind of super interesting.
It's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. Now that you showed Melanie hit her tattoo, the dragonfly, I don't know if you can show the other one, but after Corey died, Melanie got a tattoo and Corey's wife got a tattoo, and so did my brother-in-law. And I don't know if you can read that, but tell them what the heart says. If you can, you will make you too sad.
Yeah, it might, but love you forever, like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And that's actually from a book that it just happens to be here. I didn't even plan that. It's a book that I used to read to Corey when he was younger. And I said it to him always throughout his life because he would mess up a lot, So if he mess, I'm like, love you for always, Corey. Like, love you forever, like you for always, as long as I'm living. Anyway, so that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
A little
So,
bit of tears, but I love it. But
oh, I
yeah,
love it too. Yeah, and then that's got his name, and it says his birth when he was born and also when he crossed, right?
no, it does. Well, so
Like
he
it was
passed
supposed
away
to.
on 6/26/21. And so when I got the tattoo, I designed it or told her what I wanted, and then she said, "Look at it, make sure it's right. Look at it." We all did. We all looked and made sure it was right. But none of us noticed that there was a 2 instead of a 6. And so 3 months later, after I'd had this tattoo for a while, somebody said, I looked at it, I said, "Oh, that's my son, for my son." And he said, "Oh, he passed away in February. This is 3 months. This has been on my body." And other people have looked at it. And I looked down,
Including me, who didn't notice this
yeah,
either.
none of us noticed. And I looked down, and all I saw was, because I can't really see the year, 2/26, and I thought, well, that's my mother's birthday. So we decided that she wanted to be on there too. She's like, "Who's getting tattoos without me being included?" So I changed it to the year of her birth year. So now it's her birthday and her initials, and it's all birth dates, no death dates, because they're still there. They're
Yeah.
still, they changed. They moved on, to the next life, but they aren't gone. So
Yeah.
no death dates.
Yeah.
And my mom's on my arm, and she's happy about that, I'm
I
sure.
know, I think she is too. And I remember like when that happened and you called me up and you said, "What do you think about that?" And I said, I think that somehow mom
Yeah.
found a way to have that happen, because first of all, she'd want a tattoo as well. Why didn't you have one for her?
Yeah.
Number
Yeah.
one. And
Yeah.
number two, I felt like that was a huge sign, because if we start
Yeah.
talking about signs, I mean,
Yeah.
that was a sign that which we've felt this is that, I mean, Corey's with mom.
Yes, absolutely. And I've had a few readings. Sorry, this shirt gets a little weird. But I've had a few readings that you did a reading for me right away after he passed, like within days. And my mom came through, and Ange saw it, and she had him by the ear, and
Yeah.
said, "Don't worry, I got him, Ange. Don't worry, I got him." And my mom used to pull his ear, so
Yeah.
that was confirmation. And Ange was like, "Well, I don't know why I'm seeing that. She has him by the ear." And I'm like, "Oh, she pulled his ear."
Yeah,
And
because
so,
my mother was always straightening the boys out,
yeah.
right?
So she had him, and she came through to make it clear. But the other thing that I didn't get until later, I had another reading later where someone said that when he flew through the air from the motorcycle accident, and when he was flying, when his body started being ejected, she pulled him out, and he watched it happen, which was really neat to hear too, because that's another thing that you worry about too. But yeah,
Yeah,
so she's had him the whole time.
yeah. Like you worried about, was he in pain? That's
Right.
the thing, right? And,
Right.
and didn't you even have an experience, like sort of a dream or something that showed you that was
I did. I was sitting, this was within the first week too. And Corey came, I'm so lucky that I heard him there and felt, and knew he wasn't afraid. But then this was like, he came and showed me, like I was kind of falling asleep because I was exhausted, and I was falling asleep on the couch, and all of a sudden I felt like static, and like you're going through the static and then you're flying. And I kind of woke up thinking, did I die? And it was Corey showing me that that's how it felt. He didn't feel any pain. Yeah,
yeah,
and I kind of realized it and talked to Angie about it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's definitely what that is." Yeah.
yeah. Well, because I've gotten that over and over and over again when I bring somebody through from the other side when I'm doing a reading, and they always show that they're out of their bodies and they don't feel the pain. So that's a super important thing to know, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it wasn't even that he died instantly. He was out of his body. The angels and spirits on the other side already knew what was going to happen, and they already pulled him out and had him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's important. And for everybody, like how Melanie's talking about hearing Corey, you can all hear your loved ones. they talk to us a different way, and I think that's something that we all have to get used to, because we're used to, we talk with our voices, so we hear it, or somebody gives us something and we see it, and how you hear your loved one and how I hear it, in doing a reading, is I hear it in my mind, and is that how you hear Corey, Melanie, too?
Yeah, and I've ever since hearing him on the side of the road that day, because it was so clear, I've been pay attention more, and it is a little bit more in his voice, and I didn't think of it before. It just pops in my head, and that's how I'm like figuring out when it is Corey or your own thoughts, because that's the difficult thing in that
Yeah.
we all know Ange is good at that, and she gets the difference. But for those of us that are kind of learning, that's
Yeah.
what I've learned. That's what I've learned. Yeah.
So say that again. So you mean, like, okay, so when it's your own thought, well, I always think that when it's your own thought, sometimes it's around worry. And I always feel that when somebody comes through from the other side, that you're never going to get something that's worrisome or scary. It's going to
True.
be positive. Okay.
True. Yeah. And then that's in those dreams that come too. Cause when you have the dreams, if they're a worry, it's your mind working through things. I think that too. But when it's like a visit, it truly is them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can tell. And would you say it's how, because I always say to people, how does it make you feel? And I think you can tell it that way too. But you said also yeah, tell me that. I want to know that, because you're right. I do it every day. So I don't even know how it is, but it just pops in your mind.
Yeah, because I don't know, I haven't done that much, so I don't know the difference. And now I'm learning. It kind of just comes in almost from the side and not like from my thoughts. It's not something I thought of. When Corey will come in and say, "I still am," or I'll hear those kind of things from him. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It's pretty awesome.
yeah. It's not something that I generated. Oh, Gina Duggar just popped in. Hi, Gina. Yeah, I absolutely, he's our angel now. I absolutely believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, she says, I honestly believe there are angels among us. And I believe that too.
Yeah.
Angels that are loved ones become angels that are with us, and then angels that took care of them when they crossed as well. Both things.
Right. Right.
So
Oh,
go
well,
ahead.
one other quick thing, like another thing that's like important to not get stuck in any of those stages of the grief, because if you do, you don't hear them and you don't feel them and you don't get the messages. So that's another thing that's really been a motive for me to work through it and stay connected to Corey.
Yeah, because you can. It's almost like so going through the stages of grief means you have to feel them, right? Like, let yourself
Right.
feel whatever you feel, and
Right.
then you work your way through. And I have a good friend that actually wrote books about this, and her name's Annie McDonald. I'll have to get her on here sometime
Oh,
too. Yeah,
yeah.
but I should give you her books.
Yeah.
That must be great.
Rough.
Yeah. But like how you can kind of, it's almost like you go through the stages of grief, and it's almost like you're kind of crossing this bridge, and then learning how to have a relationship with your loved one on the other side in a different way.
That's right. That's right. And he wants that as much as I do. And here's the hard thing is that it's empty in the beginning. That doesn't feel great. So don't expect that if you've lost someone within, a months, not years. At first it's not, you just don't even want that because you miss them so much.
Yeah.
But as you heal and you get better, more and more okay with the situation, then you can learn to connect. And you want to be, work on that and pay attention to the signs.
Yeah, we're gonna do a show, and hopefully my other nephew Colton, who is Corey's brother, will come on, because he gets a lot of signs from his brother, and I would love to have him come on, and we want to teach all of you, how to, little things that you can do that will allow you to hear your loved ones, so and paying attention. I think always pay attention to the signs, and anything that happens like out of the ordinary, pay attention to it. And I just heard, Mom, I want to say this, because I want to tell people things they can do. Like, if you're in grief, what do you do? So when my mother told me, that it's okay to cry, and each tear is for your loved one, and they're worth it. So that's okay. And the other thing my mother said is, here's what I do. Because sometimes, like, we're afraid to grieve because we're afraid we're going to start crying and we're not going to be able to stop. It feels like you're out of control. So my mother said, and my mother showed me her old fashioned kitchen timer. All right. And she said, so what I do every day is I set the timer for 1 hour. And during that time, I let myself cry and I get angry if I have to. And I punch a pillow and I go through any emotion I have. And then when I hear the ding, because those timers ding, I
Yeah.
go in the kitchen and I wash my face, I reapply my makeup, I go for a walk or go do something, and then I do it all over again the next day and the next day as much as I need to. And so I feel like that's something you can do. And if you're afraid that you're not going to be able to stop crying, set the timer and do what my mother did, and then do it the next day. And then that way you're sure to be working through those stages of grief, right? And Melanie, like that's important.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. And I cry. I always say I cry. In the beginning, I cry at least once a day because I probably cried a few times a day, but I
Yeah.
cry every day. Yeah. And that's okay. And not maybe that long. But Ange, remember too that mom said, this is what you're going to do after I die, because she knew she was dying. And that's
Yeah.
pretty funny too.
Yeah, well, it is, and especially too because I remember we weren't accepting it, and she said, "I don't care if we need to talk about it," which I'm always so grateful for because sometimes I think somebody that we're connected to maybe has a terminal illness, and we don't want to talk about it because we want to stay positive. But I'm so grateful. My Italian mother said, "Too bad you're going to listen," and she forced us to talk about it, and I'm glad because now she's on the other side and we can connect with her, but there was nothing like hearing her voice and hearing her tell those things. And honestly, like her words, like, I mean, I've told so many people that I find that a lot, that that somebody that's lost someone, they don't know how to grieve and they don't know what to do. And I've told them things you've said, and I've told them mom's words of wisdom. And then they say, I feel so much better because I didn't know what to do. And now I do.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I'm looking on the side too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Madeline said journal, and that I like that too. That's awesome.
Yeah. I
That's,
love that. Yeah,
yeah,
because you know what? You're journaling to them. It does build a connection because they're hearing your words, so
yeah,
they're right there with you when that's happening.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, and in that way too, you kind of do things to honor them. Like Corey loved tattoos, and actually the tattoo artist is gave him his tattoos, and he had tattoos, and so that was a way to honor him. And everybody's different, but you need to find those things,
Yeah.
journaling, all
Well,
different kinds of things.
it's journaling, and you took you have an old motorcycle, or I don't want to call it an old motorcycle, Dale's
It
shovel,
is.
right?
It is,
And,
yeah, it's a
yeah.
73, and it was gonna be Corey's bike, like, Corey loved that bike, and it was always gonna be his. Yeah, we have a few that was an honor for Corey. He wrote songs, and
Well,
this one is
tell what he wrote. You wrote something on that motorcycle, like in his honor, right?
it's his song. It's his song. So he wrote songs in one song that he finished, not that much before he passed, was called Crossroads or Straight Line. So we wrote Crossroads, God Keep Me on a Straight Line, Corey DeAeth. It's a
Yeah.
verse from his song. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes you feel better that like you did that to honor. And I want to just throw this in too, because I know that this helped Dale, counseling. I mean, like
Yeah.
don't be afraid to go to grief counseling, because sometimes like you just have to talk about it and you don't know what to say, or you just need
Right.
that like
Right.
uninvolved caring person to help you, or give
Right.
you their words of wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah. Or especially with amongst the family when everybody's grieving, it's hard to put more on another person in your family. So having an impartial person that understands, that is helpful. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I
definitely.
remember when my we had my stepfather passed away, and then my uncle passed away, my mother passed away. We had a lot of, and then my father
Mhm.
passed away, all
Yeah,
within like I think a year and a half or 2 years
yeah,
time.
yeah,
And I remember my cousin Amy, who lives up here in New York. I don't know if she's on watching. If you are, hi Amy.
yeah.
But Amy said we're going to grief group. And I said, no, no. And my aunt was upset because my uncle was, obviously her husband. And she said, we're going to grief group and you're going too. And I wasn't thinking I needed to go, but I went because you couldn't say no to her. But actually it was extremely helpful, because,
Yeah.
because you were with other people and because I think you don't understand your feelings sometimes. And then when you're with other people that are talking about theirs, it helps you too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, just for me, the more I would clear the pain and could walk through it, the more I feel that connection, even with Corey on the other side.
Yeah, which how important is that? So I want to ask you this, Mel, for people because I think sometimes people don't know what to say, or what to say to you. So what's helpful to you? Like if somebody's going to come up to you and they know you lost your son, what should they say?
I mean, of course, the obvious, sorry for your loss. Everybody's different. Some people don't even, you say, oh, it's when I lost my son or whatever, and they don't say anything, which is fine. I understand that. But you'd like to hear sorry for your loss, and anybody who knew him, say something about him, but acknowledge it. And again, even if it causes the person to have some tears, it's much better to talk about them than not, because we want to remember them.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
and you're right, like acknowledging it because it's almost like you say, I lost my son. They don't say anything, and they're not doing that. They're doing it because they don't want to say the wrong thing. They
Right.
care, of course,
Right.
but for you, that almost feels like they're not even acknowledging that I said I lost my son. They're not acknowledging my son, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not so much acknowledging my feelings, but just, he was a person and just remember him, kind of thing. Yeah. Acknowledge it. Yeah.
Yeah, or give a memory, like something like, "I'm sorry you lost your son. I remember something,"
Right.
right?
Right. And well, yeah. And some of Corey's friends a little bit. Oh, and hello to everybody I see the little comments pop up and it
Yeah.
triggers me.
Jennifer Kerville in Texas. Melanie is in Texas right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in Texas. I live near Brenham, Texas. And
Yeah,
hi, Nicole, too.
yeah.
But yeah, okay, well, that sidetracked me.
Oh, Danielle. Hi, Danielle. How are you? Danielle's one of my friends and students. I think she gave you a reading, Mel.
Oh, yeah. The readings have been amazing. I can't say enough about how much that's helped me, as far as for my healing, to be able to connect with and hear the signs from Corey and all the stories. Some amazing readings, and that's helped me quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
um,
So, yeah, no, no. Oh, and there. Oh, hi, Aaron. Aaron, hi, Aaron. I love
yeah,
Aaron. Yeah, Jessica's best friend since high school, right? Jessica's Corey's sister.
yeah. And she was one of the amazing people that was here. Oh, and hi, Karen Presley, too. I see Karen's on there, too. But, and that came and just one of the things Erin brought, which was so sweet, and who would have ever thought of this, but she brought like boxes of tissues. Other things too, but I was like, wow, isn't that great?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. That was
Great
so
way to
sweet. I didn't know
acknowledge-
she did that either. Yeah, and
Yeah,
she
that
was
we're
just there. You know what? I think that was it too. I remember like sitting at your table, and Jessica, Melanie's daughter, Corey's sister, my niece, brought puzzles and just left them on the big table, and people would sit down and just do the puzzle. And so I think it gave us something to do, and
yeah.
I think it was just like people just being there. They didn't have to say anything or do anything special, just be there. And I remember Aaron, and I love Aaron. I love your smile, Aaron. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, it was just the people being there was so comforting. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Hmm.
So, hey, I want to ask you because I cannot believe how fast an hour goes. I'm always worried we're not going to have enough to talk about when I do these things, but they go fast. But so, love you too, Aaron. Yep.
Love you,
So,
Darren.
if we pull Corey's picture back up again, can you tell us just a couple of your favorite memories about Corey?
Well, this particular one was when we went to Disney, and I have arthritis in my hips, and so we had a wheelchair, and so that if we got sore, and then we were like, I'm gonna walk now, and so Corey's like, well, I think I'll be riding in the wheelchair now. So Dale and we were pushing him around in the wheelchair, and he had these sunglasses on that were real dark. And I don't know what the person thought, but there's photographers around Disney, and they decided that our son, who was in the wheelchair, should have some photo shoot. and he did all these amazing pictures of Corey, and that's one of them.
That's a nice picture. And you know what? I remember like that was fun. Corey, that was actually quite funny when he did
It
that.
was. We didn't do it on purpose, but the person was like, "Let me do some pictures of you." You know, this kid in the wheelchair, and Corey hopped up and went, "You all right?" And he did a photo shoot. It
It
was
was
fun.
funny. And
But
he
what a
like, I
blessing.
remember that trip because that was a trip that we went back and forth on. It was a family trip and to go to Disney. And
Yes.
we were our family's always emotional and dramatic,
Yeah.
like let's not go, let's go, whatever. And we ended up going.
Yeah.
And I always think this, everybody, like if you have the urge or it feels right to connect with somebody, or you're thinking about somebody and you want to connect and you're thinking you're busy and you'll do it next week. If you feel like that, connect with them, because I always think I'm so grateful that I went, we took that trip, because that was our last family trip. And I
Yeah.
had some of the best conversations with Corey ever on that trip, you know, I'm grateful. I think Jessica put the trip together and kind of forced us all to go. But now, like, I find myself thinking about that, like, since, what I've learned since Corey's passed
Yeah.
is don't wait. You know, if there's something that you really want to do, or a person that you really want to connect with them.
That was our last family vacation, and these are also great memories. And it just struck me just now was that all of these wonderful memories of having Corey in our life for 33 years that we're thankful for, and now I'm getting new memories with him. Don't miss that. Don't let the grief absorb you so much that you miss what they're saying now from the other side.
Yeah, because they have their wisdom still from the other side. And I think we're going to need to continue this, and I'm going to have you come on and let's talk about the specific signs, because I know that I've gotten amazing ones. I have amazing ones from my mother and my father, and I'm sure all you have signs too from your loved ones. Or I think if we open up the conversation and we talk about it, it helps all of us, because a lot of people come to me and say, I have no idea if that was a sign or not. And I think if we talk about that, we'll know, right?
Yeah, definitely the different things and how you kind of, pay attention and it repeats or happens again and things like that. And then you're like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll have to get Colton on.
Yeah, I don't know where he is right now, but he's definitely had some really awesome, connection with Corey since Corey passed. And it would be great to hear some of that, because Colton and Corey, the brothers, were very bonded, and
Yeah.
Corey's watching Colton all the time and coming through. And Colton said, and he's had no training either, but he said he can tell when it's Corey.
Yeah. He just
So,
knows. He just
yeah,
knows. Yeah.
he knows. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that you said that. So yeah, so work through your grief so you can hear them and still maintain that relationship, even though it's something different.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
So,
Well, thank you, Mel, for coming on. I appreciate it a lot. And I when we planned this, we weren't specifically planning it to be on the 1 year anniversary of Corey's passing, and somehow it worked out to be that day. I feel like it was meant to be.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Georgine, one last thing, which I think is another great comment, that after tears, the laughter comes, clears the way.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love that, Georgine. That's really pretty, and that's true. And then the laughter comes, and then you tell the stories, and then it's like they're right there with you. And we start telling the stories about Corey because he made us laugh so hard, and then it's like you hear him laughing with us, and I know he is, because I can hear him in your mind. So remember that too. Like I think we all like the signs that we look for. I always wanted it to be that my mother was standing right in front of me, and of course she doesn't have a physical body anymore, so she can't do that. But if I watch, she, the signs come in other ways, and I hear her all the time in my mind. And I know you hear Mom too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, look, Ange, Dale said something really nice to you.
Oh, two wonderful ladies. Who else gets to have a sister-in-law like you, Angie? Ah, thank you, Dale. Thank you. I love you. Dale's a good dad, and he's a good person. And maybe one of these times we'll get Dale on too, right, Mel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, the boys who have their great sense of humor and who are very funny get that a lot from their father. So,
Yeah,
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 thanks,
and
Mel. Thank
yeah,
you.
that was
Yeah,
awesome.
and I love you, Mel, and I thank you because I know today's a hard day, but we did something to honor Corey today,
Yeah,
and we helped other people, and he would, I'm sure he's right here hearing all the stories and wants us to do this again so we can tell
I'm
them all.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Thank you. And Karen, thank you for being in the background there and pulling up the pictures because neither one of us knows how to do that. So we appreciate Karen. Um,
Thanks, Karen.
yeah, and thank you everybody so much for joining us and taking time out of your Sunday to be with us and hear our stories. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next week for meditation.
Bye.